Hey everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative. We are going to try something a little different today. I always like doing different things just because I can, and if it gives you ideas or inspires you to do something unique and unusual, then my job here is done. Anyway, it is a beautiful day here. The weather outside, it was very chilly this morning, but it's warmed up. What are we going to do today? As you can see in front of me, I have what look like roses. I have a mold by Celebrate It that I picked up at Michael's. It's flat, and these all used to be one sheet of roses. At one point I had thought maybe what I could do is take that sheet and wrap it around something in order to insert it into a mold I might have, which I don't. And I thought, well, I don't want to waste these pieces. I want to do something with them. What I did was I cut the sheet down before the resin got too hard. I then took my Dremel and I rounded off the corners. I mean, I didn't do any, really, got the wrong, anything too massive or major to them, but I just rounded them down a little bit so they looked more professional, if you will. And I did that to all of them. I also wanted to sort of bring up some color in these. I took the Artalchemy wax. I used the honey, but I used a couple other colors as well. And I'm really sorry I don't have a purple and a blue. So I sort of randomized what colors went on which ones. For example, on here, I used, I think it's called burgundy. It's along the field of a burgundy color. And I really, again, if I'd had purples and blue, I think it would have been really cool. And they have come out with a whole ton of different colors. And I could have bought more, but I refrained from doing that. But I do want more. Anyway, I did that. What I want to do now with these pieces is using this mold, which is a pop mold, and I can't remember where I got it. I want to layer these. So what my intention is, if you can picture it, is this, and going all the way around, putting in pieces. Once the first layer has had a chance to set, then I want to hopefully be able to get a second layer on here. And I think, let's see if I can do this. I'm hoping I can do this. It may be really close, but I want to put the small ones on the bottom because of the spacing issues, and then I'm going to put the big one on the top. Let me try and do that again and hold it in place. So that is, my fingers are so in the way. That is my intention, is to do this and go all the way around. I have no idea really how many I'm going to need on the bottom row, let alone the next row up. As I say, my intention is we'll do one row and then we'll do the other. I have added a little bit of mica powder to this. I am not putting any glitter in this. I figure there's enough sort of glitter from the mica powder in these. I very sparingly, because the mica powder was sort of blowing off the sides, it's sort of randomness on this. I'm not putting anything. I know I say that all the time, don't I? I'm not going to put anything else. I'm not in this piece. So I put some random gold, dark blue, and dark violet. And at the very down here around this lip here, I put gold. Just because. So here we go. Here are the colors by Let's Resin. We have dark blue, dark violet, and the gold. And I think these will just add a little bit of color. We know, and it isn't, I'm not expecting to put a rose in the center. As I'm sitting here looking at it, I'm thinking, well, I could put a rose. Obviously, it would go like that in the center. We'll see about that. That wasn't part of my plan. It's unfortunate you can't see into this mold, But that's just the kind of mold. Now, I have mixed up 100 mils to do the first layer. I don't know if I have too much. If I do, I am going to, using this tea light mold, take the clear resin I've got. I'm going to mix in some Sunset Yellow by Elichemresins and some glitter, and just put a little bit in the bottom here, because what I want to do with the rest of it, as I explained in the previous video, I want to take the petals off of one of my yellow flowers and then mix up some clear resin, put them in, and then just see if I can't get that sort of floating of the petals in it. So that's kind of my plan. I've got a sparkle or something in that, so I'll take care of that. But anyway, that's the plan. That's what we're up to in this video. I have my resin already mixed up, because we know how boring that can be to watch. I'm going to take some of these pieces because I know they're going to be too big and I don't want them. I'm hoping, to be honest, I'm hoping those 6 that are at the bottom here are the ones that go around the inside, and I'm hoping that's all I need. So I'm just going to place these other ones aside. Once this is set enough, then I'll do the next row. But I didn't want to take a chance of like filling it all up and then having them overlap one another. That's not what I want to do. So let's just get some stuff out of the way. I am going to sink, actually first off I'm going to pour some of this resin around the inside of this. Let's do that first, just so we have a base around here. And it's not going to matter if it sort of runs up the side, which anyone who's worked with resin knows that that can happen sometimes, because it's going to be clear resin anyway, so it's not going to matter. If it were a colored resin, I'd want to be a little more careful with it. I'm just going to, I don't know why that matters to me to take that off. I guess it doesn't, does it? Okay, so we've got some resin down there at the bottom. I think what I'm going to do is take one of my sticks and just make sure that it's just sort of set at the bottom. It would be better if it were clear, because then I could see what the heck I was doing instead of, you know, trying to do something and I can't see what I'm doing. So let's take these pieces and we'll move this, just get this in. And you've seen me do this before, you know what I'm up to. We're just going to take the piece and we're going to dunk it in the resin. So it gets coated. And we'll do that for each of the pieces. Hopefully this won't take me a long time. I just figure it'll be a better plan. And then we'll just drop them in. Again, wouldn't it be great if we could see around the side of this? That would make my life a lot easier. But I am up for the challenge. Let's see how this works out. Again, I'm not getting resin on the top of it, but that's neither here nor there to me right now. I'm just going to place these in. I'm really hoping, and I need my other glasses. This stuff's it's so funny. I have 2 pair of glasses, and one's for, you know, making things really big and getting it close up for me, and the other pair are more for my computer. And I think I've been wearing the other pair that are really for close up a little too long, because now I sort of rely on them more than I want to. Oh, I should tell you what I did with the, I didn't mention that to you. Give me a second here. Let me just get that piece in and we'll just sort of move it around. Now, is this going to work? Who knows? And I'm hoping, as I move them around, wouldn't you love to be able to see this? But anyway, I put this wax on. I have little finger pieces that go up to about my knuckle, and I just put it on that finger, and then I wiped it around the pieces, and then I have some not heavy duty but tougher brushes that I went around inside it to make it not look so severe. So finger with some wax on it, and then just rubbed it around where I wanted to, and then took the brush I had and like spread it out more. That's how I dealt with doing that, just so you know. Okay, now I'm thinking I'm gonna have to find some more, because I know, and looking at these now, it's I was hoping the 6 of these would be enough, but I don't think they're going to be, unless I space them out more, which I absolutely could do. And I'm hoping that down there that they release themselves. It's kind of why I put the resin on these, as well as putting some on the bottom. And I know I'm going to have some air bubbles in the roses themselves, and that's okay too. We've had a discussion about that I don't mind, because it reminds me of them being outside and the water getting into them. Okay, now we are going to need at least one more, and I think 2. And where the problem's going to come in for me doing that is the sizing of them. But you know what? I work with what I have, and this is an experiment to see what it looks like. Is this a good idea? Is it not a good idea? At least I'm using up my resin pieces, which is good. If I can find the right bottle size to do this in the future, and then wrap the roses around so I can get them into a bottle shape and then make somehow a vase out of that, I will. Okay, I need to get these. I want them sort of sitting flat. I need another one. Okay, so what have I got here? I need to find the smallest of the small, the smallest of what's left. So let's see. Maybe this one. So we'll just go through. Isn't this fun? It's like putting a puzzle together. I guess those 2 are about the same. Yeah, I think that's going to have to be one or the other. Let's go with that one. Okay. And this should do it. I won't have room for another one after this, so this will have to be it, and I can space them out a little bit. This will make this much more fun, because you're going to get to see, you know, the surprise. I guess that's what I'm thinking. It's going to be a surprise for you how this is going to look, and me too, because we can't see. We can't see. All right. So this definitely is it. Can you see? Yeah, I'm hoping, yeah. I worry about that. Okay. Get that down there. I need my other glasses on. Again, these ones aren't working. I'm going to do this, and I have well, I shouldn't say I have a ton left over. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to be curious to know if because this piece is a little bit bigger, if I'm going to end up pushing the center in a bit, which is quite possible. Don't really want to be doing that. However, it may not. I've pushed it down so as far as I want to. And I'm going to just see that these other ones seem to be touching the ground, or the top of it, call it what you will. Okay, so now I'm going to pour some more in here. I'll get these off. We will pour more in here. And you know what? I'm not going to worry. It's, as I say, it's going to be clear anyway. And let this just go all the way around. And then hopefully the resin will like light the air bubbles up. Okay, there are air bubbles. And I'm not going to be able to get my lighter down there. So I think I'm going to let this figure itself out as far as the air bubbles go. I'll tap it a little bit, and I'll go around the outside edge very carefully to dislodge any bubbles. I've got a few in there, but again, if we think of a flower being outside, there are, think of dew, think of dew, think of dew, think of dew. Okay, early morning dew on a flower. Okay, that should be more than enough. I don't expect any of these to rise up because they're in there fairly good. I'm just trying to think of what I can use just to go around the edge a little bit and see if I can't release some of those air bubbles. I'd rather not have them on the edge, and that's where I've got some of these. Now maybe what I could do is I have a heat gun. So why don't we see if we just do that, and I'll have to sort of back myself away from it so you don't hear it. See if that might. So I apologize for noise. And I just tested against my arm to see when it's warm enough. Now that's helping with some of those air bubbles. Good, 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 good. All right, that helped. I could see them popping. I was leaning back so you wouldn't have to listen to the... Yeah, there we go. That helped. Alrighty then. So we'll just set this over there and we'll put a cover on it. And we'll let it set up. And then hopefully I haven't put too much in. And I'll be able to get another row of these in. Won't do that now, obviously, because I don't want to get resin on those. But I'll wait until that sets up firm enough, and then I'll see that I can get another row of those guys in there and pick out the ones I'm going to use, so you don't have to sit through that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add to our mixture. What did I do with my mold? Okay, it's up there. We're going to add some of this sunset yellow. I've obviously I've done too much resin up again. Let's just say it that way. Natalie's done up too much resin again. Make sure that's clean. I don't want to stick that in there if it's got resin on it. I think it's going to be a really pretty color. I think it's going to be very, very intense for the top of it, which I'm okay with. I'll get that. I almost wonder, you know, you do something like swirls with this stuff, it looks so cool. Here, can you see that? You see the swirls in there? Ah, looks so cool. I almost don't want to. It's like, don't mix it all in. Wonder what happened. Have you ever done that? Like just swirl. You know what? Okay, there we go. We are not going to mix that all in. I'm going to swirl it. Okay, let's get some of this glitter in here. And I'm going to do my best to, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I was going to say, I'm going to do my bestest not to knock this all over. Okay, so let's do this. Put some of this in. Isn't it nice? You got this kind of a this, and it's not going to work. So let me just put that into my garbage bin because there's no way I'm going to get it back in there. Usually I can get it back in. Okay. So let's just swirl this in. Maybe mixing. You know what? I should have done the glitter first. I'm getting it too mixed up now. I'm losing my swirl. That's too bad. Because that would have looked really cool. Oh well. Okay, we'll just mix it up. I'll have to do that in the reverse next time. So I should have put my glitter in first. And then put in the paste. And just swirled it around a bit. Oh well. That's another experiment. Or you could try it yourself and let me know what happens. Because I think that would have been cool. And I'm just wondering if I want to make that a little bit darker. more lemony, more sunset-y. I figure in the age that we're living in, I can come up with new words whenever I want to. And I hope you do too when you're working. Yeah, come up with some new words and start using them. Dictionaries coming up with new, the slang that's out there now, why not? All right. Now, I'm just wondering if I can get some swirl effect in here with the new stuff, eh? It'd be better if it were a different color and it would really show up. Like I say, this stuff from Elichemresins, it's amazing to me, these pastes that they've got out. Yeah. Next time I'm going to do it differently. I have to do a video on that, doing swirls in it and seeing how it sets and how it looks. Sounds like a plan to me. It's almost like putting alcohol ink in it and then just swirling it around a bit. Keep losing where I put things. Okay, just want to make sure I have a speck in there. So when I use this dust blaster to clean out my molds. When I say that, to get the dust out. So I just very gently blow inside of it. That sounds really loud probably to you. I still have a piece, so I'm going to have to get my glove off first. That piece is not... Usually I just use the dust blaster to get some of the dust out from inside. I know that I get dust in molds and in my resin. I don't know anyone who could say they're absolutely dust-free when it comes to that. But I also appreciate that I do my bestest as my container's sitting there not to. My glove back on. My hands are very warm today. Okay. So we're not going to put a lot of this in here because I want to basically just get it around and I'm not going to concern myself too much. I was thinking, well, maybe you want to keep this from not... I think I'm just going to go up to the top. You know what? I'll just cover the tea light piece because there'll still be a lot of room for my... Okay, let that just spread out. And of course I got some of the stuff on the side which I really didn't want to do. So let me see. Using one of my small little tools here to wipe that off, as I really don't want it on the mold. I figure if I'm going to just do it clear with the petals and maybe a little bit of glitter, I don't want a spot where the resin, the yellow resin, is clung to it. So that's what I'm doing right now, is just cleaning that off. I think I got it pretty good. All right, okay. So that, I think, is fine for that. We're just, I'd say, basically level. Got some there too. With the, the bottom of the tea light itself, where the candle would go. And I always recommend a battery operated. I would never put a live candle in a mold that's made of resin. Okay. So yeah, we're going to leave that. I will end up pulling one of the flowers apart to get the yellow petals from it. Okay, we're just going to take this. We're going to let that set over there. Got two things on the go now. I have still quite a bit of resin left. I am going to do... Where did I put it now? I have a thing for my dog paw. And interesting, the other one I did in the video that was with the gold speckle in it, I still had an issue around the tops here. like I was still getting air bubbles. So what I want to do with this one is I just want to pour it in and just using a stick or my dotting tool is go around and see if I can avoid that, because it's the second one it's happened to, and it's not the mold. Like, I mean, there don't appear to be any issues with the mold. I just wonder if the resin's just not, like, I'm pouring it in too fast. So I just want to do this very carefully this time and just get it in the paws, or the pads of the paws, because I want to see if I can make one without the indents. I mean, I haven't gone around any of these, so let's see if that makes a difference if I do that. Heart one's going to be a little fun, isn't it? So careful pouring this, because I don't want it to go over top. Oops. And then we'll pour it in here. Okay. I'll set that off to the side, and now we'll just go around and pull it over to the edges. And see if we can make one that doesn't have any air bubble holes in it. I know we try and be careful, and sometimes we do a really good job of making sure the resin has no air pockets in it, but I also know how easy it is to get them sometimes. So let's see if we can do this one and not have that happen. So we'll just carefully go around and help it get to the edges. And then at the same time, smoothing around those edges to hopefully not have any. They're not glaring air bubbles, but they're enough that I want to see if I can make one without. So we almost have this in. And I know I have some air bubbles in the, like, I can see it. And this needs a little bit. Let's get you over there. And I don't know if anyone else finds this as well. Sometimes you'd get it over to the edge, but it doesn't want to stay. So let's put a little bit more resin in that. I can just see I'm going to end up making, yeah, another piece out of something. And maybe I'll do that off camera and surprise you with whatever it is I come up with. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, so I'm going to also drop it. I use my long net lighter and go around these paws to get any of the air bubbles out of there. I see one where my heart is. Okay, so I'm just going to very carefully go around where I see it. Okay, I'm going to warm, I'd like to warm that up, but you know what? I'm just going to pour this because it is starting to thicken up. And I'll use my heat gun to I'm so concentrated on this. I'll use my heat gun to make it a little thinner by okay, let's just get a little bit more around, and then I'll use my dotting tool again to go around the sides to hopefully avoid any air bubbles there as well. Okay. So I'm going to, whether that's a good idea or not, I like to drop them sometimes. I feel like it helps, but yeah, I might be barking up the wrong tree with that, eh? No pun intended. Aye. Okay, I don't think I'm going to put any more in my dog paw. I'll just go over it with the lighter. And we shall see how that comes out. So I'm going to let you go now. I'm going to surprise you with doing something else because I have a thought running through my head. And when we're ready to move on to the next step with this piece, we'll come back. We are back to carry on with our project using the roses that I previously made. This has hardened up with the first layer. I took some time before I started the video to pick out the ones I wanted. Some of them are a little bit higher than what the bottom of this is going to be. I'm going to end up having to sand it down, but that's okay. I wanted to make sure I picked out the roses that would work best and that I would be able to fit all of these in. I am only going to put a little bit of this resin in the bottom, and the reason for that is, and it may not matter, is just to make sure that these sit down as close to the bottom of that as possible, because obviously I want these down as low as they will go, so I only want to put a little bit of resin in here this morning. And then I'm going to just do one of the roses with you to show you again what I do as far as coating them. I've made up 50 mils this morning for this, and I probably will need more, which is fair, and I will make more if I do, and I'll do that off camera. I just thought I'd bring you back in for sort of this little bit, and then I would show you a couple of little things, and then we will come back, obviously, once it's completely cured. So let's take one of these. And again, all I do, don't you love, I got these. I needed some small gloves to do some intricate work. And I just got these, and I got them in pink so that they would, and I thought I'll wear them today so that they stand out and you can see more, maybe what, you know, I use the black, but the black doesn't always work when you're trying to show people things because it's just too dark. So that's all I do. I just dip things in, I let the resin drip off of it, and then we'll just put it in. And I just got to make sure I get this in the right way. So hopefully I'm getting these in right. As I say, I may have to sand some of this down, which I'm okay with. And I did fit, as I said, I fit these in to make sure that what I had was going to be enough. So I didn't have to, you know, go racing off and, you know, find another one to fit in. So I'll just put this one in with you here. And then I will continue on. And once I have them all placed in, then I'll bring you back. See you in a bit. All right. I have got this in now. I don't have enough resin. I had to replace one of my flowers. But this one was too high, and I was going to need to sand it down. So I took it out and replaced it with another one. I'm probably still going to have to do some sanding because the ones that are in there aren't, like, they're not level with this, and that's okay. Again, I'm going to be sanding down resin, so that's not a big deal. The main focus of this piece is to see how is this going to look once it's fully cured. I'm going to make some more resin off camera. I'm going to fill this up, going to cover it up, and then once it has set, we will come back and see how my, you know, idea has worked. Is it going to work in the future if I make some more of these? And next time I make them, I would definitely make them more colorful if this does work, and I would see maybe about making the pieces not so big, or I have to find another vessel for which to put them in. But that's okay. We'll come back to that in a bit, basically once that's cured. So I just want to cover it up right now. I don't want to do it with that. And I'm trying to think what I have here that's quick and easy for me to cover it up with that is going to fit. Okay, that's not going to work either. So And this, I think, is going to sit wrong. Okay, never mind. I will just have to carry on. And okay, I got one more idea, and I won't be on camera long. So if it does, okay, that'll work for now. We did the paw. I need to move this out of the way more, don't I? Oops. We did the paw in the yellow. And I wanted to see if I did each, like the pads first and then poured the rest, if I would be able to get rid of the air bubbles that I've been finding in the same places. So let's see how I did on that. I'm going to have to find new things to pour my resin into so we're not looking at paws all the time. It's not quite cured. Okay, that worked much better this time. So I still have an air bubble there. I don't around that one. Yeah, I think that definitely helped, was putting the resin and moving it about in each of these sections first and then pouring the rest of the resin on. That helped to alleviate air bubbles. I mean, I still got one on this one. I'm trying to get... Yeah, I'm not completely without them. Not completely without them, but I think we did better that time. And these ones on the top, I mean, I did go around it. It's just a matter of, did I not do it well enough? Okay, so I think it's good that I've did that because I wanted to make sure I wasn't doing, I guess it was more I wanted to make sure there wasn't something seriously wrong with the mold. And I don't think there is. I think it's just we get air bubbles and things. So I think I'm going to do something with these spots so that you can see them better instead of them being all yellow. Okay, here's the heart. What I did was I used one of the Elichemresins. I'm trying to think, was it the azure I used? It's sort of like a bluish green. We had seen that I had mixed the yellow, and I wanted to keep the striations that were in it to see what kind of design I could get. And because I did so much mixing, that wasn't going to work. So I put this azure blue in, and then I treated it like a paint pour. Now, interestingly enough, this sort of reminds me of glitter when you do your resin. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, but sometimes the glitter will just sort of centralize into one spot. And that's what it's done here on the back. It is dry. I haven't, like, this is the first time I'm touching that, so it's set. And this side of it doesn't look all that great, but let's see what the other side looks like. I mean, it's got some interesting vein work in here. Let me just bring that up to you. All right. And this is what the other side looks like. So you can sort of see the paint color in it. And I just wanted to know. And all I did was I put the color in, but I only went around a few times with it. Like, I obviously didn't want to make my yellow a totally different color. So I just sort of swirled it around a little bit and then I poured it into the mold. So I wanted just to see what would happen if I did that. And now that's the end result of that one. Okay. I haven't done any more with this piece here. I am going to, I've got the petals pulled off the flower I want. I believe I have enough. I'll make up the resin, and then once I have this piece completely done, then I'll let you see it, and we'll see how much, sort of flotation of the petals we get in the resin. But I think this is going to look kind of cool when it's done. So I wanted to just let you know where I am with that. I'm going to finish this up. When it's cured, we will come back and see how my idea has worked out. See you then. It's a rainy day in the neighborhood, but that doesn't matter because we're inside. It is time to take this piece out of the mold and find out whether or not my idea was a good one or not. And again, I play. This is how I find out what works, what doesn't work. And if we don't play or we don't experiment, we're not going to trip over potential ideas moving forward. And I think that's a really important thing for me anyway, that I take the time to find out whether or not an idea I have is any good or not. Let's get this out of here and see. As you will notice, I'm trying to this is not level with the top. I'm going to have to sand this down. I have a hand sander that I will use out in my garage to sand it down, and then I will put a UV resin top coat on this. So let's get it out and see. Now this isn't a, what do you call this? This isn't a glossy mold. This is a matte mold. So I think, based on what I'm seeing, I am going to, there we go. That's the end product. Let me put the mold to the side. And let me do this. Okay, so that's how this is looking right now. I don't think I realized it was a matte mold when I was using it, but that's okay. And it's probably meant for resin create or mixed mold or something like that, or something you don't really care if it's a matte or not, but I kind of care. I kind of care. So I'm going to end up very carefully. I am going to either coat this, I'm trying to sort of go through my head, coat this with UV resin, and I could do that, actually I could do that after it is sanded on the bottom. I could use a I'm trying to think of the name of the resin, the coating resins. I could use a coating resin on this just to bring it up so it doesn't have this matte look, because I really want to be able to see these roses better than I can right now. That's important to me, that I be able to see them. So this is what we have. Yes, this needs to have a top coat, and I don't want to I won't spray it. I want to use resin on this, just so it's probably protected. But I'm thinking, if you can imagine what this will look like. So that'll be in another video. I'll bring this back and let you see how it looks once I've got it all finished up. Yeah. So there we have it. I think it's kind of a cool idea. I think it's going to look a lot better when it has the top coat on it. Now I do have an air bubble here, so I'm just going to get this. Okay, and it's going, I think it's going right down to the flower itself. However, if I put a top coat on this, that should get filled in. And I think it's going to be waterproof regardless. And then I'll get this all sanded down and we will, yeah. And do I do the inside? I might. You know what I might do is, for the inside, is just put some resin in the bottom just to pull up the colors and then leave the rest of it matte. Because I don't really care if this is matte in here. That's not where the focal point is. The focal point is these roses around. And I think I could have, where I would have been better off is if I hadn't put so much resin in the middle here, because then I probably wouldn't have this problem here. However, I thought I wanted to get right up to the top of some of these, and I don't think I really needed to do that because I have a varying space in between here. Anyway, I think it was a success. Would I like to have done it in a mold that was glossy? Absolutely, because that would save me some work. But you know what? I think this turned out pretty cool, and I'm glad I did it. And it gives me food for thought for future videos. Anyway, thank you for joining me. A comment below if you have any thoughts. Thank you to everyone who is liking and subscribing to my channel. That means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye for now.